Hey there, how's it going, Nostalgics? Welcome back to another episode of Nostalgic Blast Reviews, where we take a look at the best and worst in gaming. Today, up on the chopping block, guys, is a game that was developed by High Moon Studios and published by Capcom back in 2005, the Western horror vampire classic, Darkwatch, for the PS2 and the original Xbox. Let's go. Darkwatch is considered to be a cult classic video game to many people for the unique story elements as well as its unique gameplay, combining parts of the Old West along with gothic horror aesthetics like vampire. This game is considered to be such a cult classic that it even caught my attention a few years ago as this hidden gem obscure game from Capcom that never really picked up any traction until several years later. So with reviewing this game today, I aim to answer the question, is this game deserving of its hidden gem status, and should more people actually play this game? Let's find out. A lot of Darkwatch involves an outlaw named Jericho Cross, who, in one of his notorious train robberies, ends up accidentally freeing the vampire lord of the West, known as Lazarus, who ends up biting Jericho. Jericho, slowly morphing into a vampire over the course of the game, having access to new supernatural abilities, is forced to work with a supernatural organization known as Darkwatch, in an attempt to hunt down and kill Lazarus, and hopefully find a cure for himself in the process. And that's the basic premise of Darkwatch, and without going into spoiler territory, this story is actually pretty well constructed for a smaller budget game compared to some of other Capcom's classics. I do like a lot of the side characters present within the game. Lazarus doesn't really appear very much and is kind of the stand-in villain, so you kind of have to, a driving force to destroy evil kind of villain. He's not really in the game very much. And Jericho's the silent protagonist, and even though he doesn't really have any dialogue throughout the game, his actions are determined by the player, and his appearance is pretty dang iconic. And the story is backed up with some very impressive cinematic cutscenes that I am extremely impressed with Darkwatch's plot, albeit it is lackluster in some areas, but it is a solid story overall, and besides, with visual cutscenes like this, why can you not be impressed?
Take it easy, partner. You got no clue what you're into. There's no gold in that vault. Oh, to hell with it. No! Sweet mercy! What have you done? Oh my God.
Say right now, visually Darkwatch does look impressive. The models, the backgrounds, the gameplay itself, whether you're shooting enemies, using your vampiric abilities to spot enemies through walls, or just in general platforming throughout the areas and taking down bosses. This game does look impressive with everything that it tries to accomplish, and the soundtrack in this game is actually pretty solid too. Not really a lot of standout tracks for me personally, but again, I have to say, with what this game pulls off with the unique aesthetic, there are some unique soundtracks within this game and music that you can really jam out to, like this one for instance. Now the gameplay. This is the part of the game that most people are going to be instantly attracted to. So in this game, Jericho has access to a number of vampiric abilities. Jericho has access to a number of vampiric abilities right from the beginning of the game as he begins his transformation, like a double jump and a unique gameplay feature known as blood vision. Since a lot of the combat in this game involves guns that you obtain, whether it be through Darkwatch or Jericho's signature pistol, once again from the organization, blood vision allows you to see through walls, and you're able to pinpoint accurately shoot down enemies, depending on the gun that you have. So you do have some basic gameplay elements that really add variety within the different levels that you go through, especially given the Old West setting, which I'll show you guys right here. Showcase the core gameplay of kind of Jericho's unique gameplay features, because what you're going to be doing throughout this game is you're traveling through these levels trying to take down Lazarus, and you're fighting off his evil forces and working with Darkwatch on missions in order to build your way toward that ultimate goal. The main thing you're going to be doing is going through different aesthetics and levels, whether it be Old West towns, underground mines, cemeteries, that kind of thing, taking down undead enemies such as skeletons. You're going to be shooting them down, jumping around, platforming, using your vampiric abilities to kill as many enemies as possible so you can move on to the next area. That's essentially the basic gameplay here. The only other really unique feature to cover would be the affinity system, whether you choose to go down the good or bad path. But the base gameplay itself, when it comes to the shooting, the platforming, using your unique vampiric abilities to kill enemies, honestly works pretty well. However, there is one issue that I do have with the gameplay. The biggest issue, I think, overall, outside of the repetitiveness of the combat, which, to be honest, enemy encounters get samey after a while, and they don't really change up too much, other than your abilities and the types of weapons that you receive. The gameplay encounters, whether it be the skeletons you encounter in the cemetery, or the boss fight at the end of the game, everything else in between there, it is the same type of encounters, and you may end up getting sick of it after a while. But the bigger issue that I have here, despite how well the game does control, how satisfying it feels to use each of these weapons, and even Jericho's abilities in general, the controls are very, very floaty. The double jump, for instance, that I mentioned near the beginning of the game, when you have to do precise platforming to make it to the end of an area and to take out every single enemy so you can move on, the controls do not work very well when it comes to these platforming segments. The controls extremely floaty, Jericho's momentum carries over, and you end up falling off more stages than what you really should, and the control is consistently an issue, especially when it comes to moving in general. You do get used to it when you're on the ground. It does work well for like hand-to-hand combat or just shooting your pistol in someone's face. When it comes to the actual platforming, even with a double jump, the floaty controls will make you lose more progress than what you really should, so the controls are a bit of an issue. Darkwatch does a lot of things right. It has an extremely unique story, albeit with some bland issues, beautiful environments, and really cool in-game cutscenes, a great soundtrack, very unique gameplay with vampiric abilities, as well as combining Old West shooting with a variety of different weapons, a unique setting that really hasn't been replicated into a lot of other Capcom titles, and just extremely unique premises regardless, including the affinity system, whether you can choose to be good or bad. On the other hand, the game isn't perfect either. You do have extremely floaty controls that make backtracking extremely repetitive, as well as just navigating levels, period, and extremely repetitive combat that does get old after a while, so you may want to take a break at certain points. But even with these issues, Darkwatch does so many things right that yes, this is an incredibly solid game. With everything that I've mentioned, this game is absolutely deserving of its hidden gem status. If you're a fan of Capcom games, third-person shooters, or obscure PS2 games, absolutely go out of your way to check this one out. It is absolutely worthy of your time, and it's also not too expensive if you want to track down a physical copy either on the original Xbox or the PS2. This is definitely one that people should check out, and hopefully we'll see more content from it one day from Capcom. Maybe, maybe not. This franchise has been kind of dormant for a long time. But to answer the question, yes, you should absolutely go and play. And And that is it for the video today, guys. Thank you guys for checking out this review of a very obscure Capcom game that a lot of people really seem to love. I actually found myself enjoying this one more than what I thought, and it really didn't disappoint from what I expected from it. So overall, very good game, and I do recommend you guys go and check this one out. But thank you to everyone who voted in the community tab for me to review this game. Keep an eye out in the community tab, guys, for updates, thoughts for myself, and of course polls to determine what the next Nostalgic Blast review is going to be on another old nostalgic classic. But thank you guys for watching the video nonetheless. Give the video a like if you did enjoy it. It does help out the channel. And subscribe to the channel if you guys want to get updated on new videos coming out, whether it be reviews, collaborations, and everything else I do here. And comment down below what you guys think about Darkwatch. I'd be curious to see if there's any Darkwatch fans out there, or people who have just played the game in general. With that being said, guys, thank you once again for watching. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the next one. Keep on gaming.